Hello, I think we're live and I'm a couple of minutes earlier. I'm just trying to make sure that I can see your comments this week because for some reason I wasn't able to last week. So just bear with me for a minute while I get all this up and running. Okay, I think we're here. So I'm hoping that I can see your comments this week, because I was unable to see them last week, and sometimes it's worthy of answering what you share. So let's see. But anyway, the most important thing is the energy forecast, of course. And I've been really enjoying actually coming on live. It has kind of made a more interaction difference, I think. And you get to see me here at the Sacred Rose Temple and back in the office because it's now not 0 degrees. So, yeah, I hope you are all well. I know the energies are quite challenging at the moment, and I had a really difficult weekend with the new moon coming in. It had quite a impact on us all. I was like really deeply emotional and quite volatile, and that's kind of the wilder field of energy at the moment, is that there's this volatility and sensitivity, and there's old wounds that are really coming up that are close to home, that are probably making you quite prickly, or you'll notice that other people are quite prickly and intolerable. So it's not just random chaos, it's actually not just random feelings. It's like the whole world feels that we're being held in our psyche by pressure. There's like a pressure in the psyche. And this has to do with these things. So these are really important key words. So your identity, like who are you? How do you come across to the world? We have this polarization. I've been using that word a lot this week. It means that we see everything through the lens of our own eyes and our own experience. And for some of us, we get really caught up that the way we see things are the way they are. Well, that kind of thought process and the way we navigate the world that way makes everything quite short-sighted. And this is asking us to open out from that polarization, realize that there are other kind of opinions, other thoughts, other ways to see things, and that people don't see you the way you see yourself. Like, people do see you differently. But I think if you've got a very weak sense of who you are, then that is more distorted. So I really want to talk about that, about how you really truly use this energy to define who you are, what you belong to really feel your self-worth. And you can't feel self-worth deep enough if you don't have an idea about who you are or who you want to be or where you're going. And this is key, because this has really made me think about how I help people with this. And the archetypal work that I do within the Jungian psychology is super important. And within the feminine ideology, in our feminine mythology, is to identify ourselves as an archetype. So I've got a body of work coming out that is about identifying your archetype. It is a 1.5 hour class. I will teach you how to do that, so that by the end of the session, you have this idea of the archetype that you are wanting to live, breathe, and hold in your psyche as we move forward into this next new cycle. And I'm also in that teaching going to be producing an oracle card of you. I produce it, you send me a photo and give me some key, questions that I send out, and you get an oracle card made of yourself. So I'll put the link under the video for that. But the reason I wanted to start off with that this week is because this is going to be really important this week. You're going to be thinking about it, but it's also very important as you move forward into this new cycle, and this new cycle with the horse energy of 2026. So we've had a lot of things making us feel different. For example, Chiron came into Aries, and the wounded healer always brings in that feeling of rawness, of soreness, of reactivity. So Chiron was trying to activate some deep soul memories around your identity. Like, what the hell did we come in here to do? Who am I? And what role do I have in this life? These are key questions on a spiritual journey, aren't they? It doesn't lead us into like just the mundane, like numbing out with TV or whatever we use to numb out and just putting up with what is. This is for us lot who are doing the deep spiritual soul seeking. Who am I? So Chiron this week has been trying to get that up in you. Who are you? What you're doing here? And what is your purpose? It is also going to really try to stir your courage up. We have to be brave to live our archetype. We have to be brave to take this hero's journey. And we need to have the courage to take up space. I think whenever we try to define ourselves as, for me, a spiritual teacher or this or that, there's a little bit of like hiding away around that because it depends on what your ego is like. For me, it gets a bit cringy, and it's because I need to own what I do more and not cringe behind it. Take up the space, take up the title and live in it. And what does living in it mean? It asks you to step up. So this is what Chiron's doing. It will also make you really sensitive and explosive because you're feeling quite vulnerable as you do this. And I had this whole situation this weekend where I exploded on another person. I emotionally dumped. I own it. But what that was, it was really bringing up this space in me that wasn't feeling seen when I was trying to be vulnerable. And so that really is important. We need a safe container to be vulnerable. We need a safe container to be able to really begin to verbalize who we are and what we're doing. So find someone that you can do that with, that can hold that space as you try to verbalize who you are, what you want, and what role you need to step into. So it's a very healing energy wherever we've got Chiron. It's healing as well as triggering and painful, but it can begin to really help you determine where you're going and how you're going to do that. That was all fueled and is all fueled by the Capricorn New Moon that happened on Saturday, right? And I felt this more intensely because my rising sign is Capricorn. So I was really feeling this stuff around self-respect, about recalibrating myself as a person that is more sustainable, more longevity in my leadership, in the way I'm going to go forward. So I was really trying to voice this feeling I had, this taking up space, being vulnerable, declaring who I am and what I want, and trying to do that it wasn't leading me into emotional dysregulation, and it didn't work. So I'm feeling much better today. I'm feeling like really much more in my body and out of emotion. But this Capricorn new moon wants you to do that. It wants you to just gather yourself from the emotion, stand in a regulated space, and try to really feel how that inner leadership wants to come through. Where does it want to lead you? And it may be that you're really feeling within this Capricorn new moon this reflectiveness that's trying to bring you some clarity. So the clarity is going to be important. Make it clear. That's why I wanted to bring out the archetype work, so that you could get some clarity, you could understand in a strong somatic and emotional way what archetype you are trying to embody and move through with. And of course, I shared last week about the cardinal cross and the pressure. We're still feeling it. So that's really highlighting, putting everything in a pressure pot and wants us to move forward. So a lot. And if that wasn't enough, we have Aquarius season beginning today, the 19th. So it joins Venus and the moon. So we know with those energies that we've got this, like, you know, sun energy, that the father, the masculine, the power, the sovereign one, and then we've got Venus, which is like love and beauty, and then we've got Moon, which is like watery, emotional. So there's a big mixed bag in there, and we've got this moving Aquarius energy that makes us change our perspective. It's really asking us to notice a lift in your perception, like notice where you've been really stuck and rigid, and come back a little bit and try to see a bigger picture, a bigger pattern, rather than being immersed in one ideology, one rhetoric, one story, and all the emotion that surrounds that. Try to step back or into a more regulated space, as I've already shared, and try to see a bigger picture. This will help you come out of some cages that is going on in your mind, and therefore creating a reality with prison doors. I want to say it like that, it's probably easier. So emotionally, we if we've released, if the moon's helped you release this weekend, or you've had a big emotional release, you're going to feel lighter and more spacious. But if you've not been doing the work, if you've not felt this or worked with it, you will still feel the pressure. So you've got to release the pressure emotionally, and then you're going to more allow more insight in and understanding to arise, because it has the space to. When you're not holding and repressing your emotions, you have more space. The libido, the energy can come through the body, and it can actually shift things move. So what else is this Aquarius doing? Well, it's going to allow you some detachment from emotional entanglements that you've been caught up in. So if you've been caught up in entangled in relations or situations or people or places that have not been good for you, you will feel it releasing now. And there may be some that you haven't released from that have reconnected for a reason, for another lesson. So let things go that need to go, and allow things to come in that are coming in, and try not to judge it, but try to feel what it's teaching you or trying to show you. So we'll really see that we get more authentic discussion, more authentic conversation, where you can try to self-express yourself, and that happens because you're with somebody or people or situation that allows for you to have that freedom in honesty. So yeah, I think this has been really important for me to feel that even if someone doesn't agree with my ideology, that they could say against it, but still allow me the freedom of my opinion. And that's hard for us all at times, isn't it? When we get so fiery and impassioned about things. But we need to really feel that that will allow us some shifts in alignment. It allows us to share values and have resonance with people rather than attachment or detachment. So it's a fine weaving of how we operate with others and in other situations. It's not easy. It's quite masterful for us to be able to be in this like flow of energy between people, and knowing what that flow of energy is between you. You know, like some relations are really shallow, and that's okay. Then others we want depth from. Just recognizing that, where'd you get your depth from? Where'd you get your kind of, I have a group of friends that we meet on a Thursday. We just have a really good laugh. I go there for the giggles, the fun, the laughter. So where are you getting what from, and what are you expecting from the situations? I think that's the easiest way to look at it. And can we be open in all of those places? So I think for the feminine, this Aquarius energy is really going to allow us to stop feeling so weighed down by the emotional labor that we've been carrying, if you've let it go, and more orientated between respecting yourself and others, and then knowing where you're putting your eggs in which baskets. I go there for fun. I go there for depth. I go there for know what you're going to wear for, and you can have some clear boundaries around that, because I think what we do is we expect everything from everywhere, and the world doesn't work like that. So this will allow space where inspiration starts to come through. And I'm feeling it at the moment. We're still in the dark part of the world on this side of the world, but I'm really feeling this space of deep creativity. It's coming through now. I'm really feeling that I'm getting ideas, I'm getting visions, I'm kind of looking forward. I'm not doing forward yet, but I'm definitely looking forward. And it's more about clarity than excitement. So we're looking forward for clarity rather than the dopamine hit or the buzz or the fantasy. So feel the difference in those words. Look for clarity this week. Don't be focused on having the buzz or the dead set idea, but having just some clarity about things. And that will allow hope to emerge from us, which is this energy is all about it. It's from the despair, from the wounding, from the pain, from the emotional labor. We are in a space now where hope and possibility and perspective comes through, rather than having to feel we need to be optimistic and happy and all of that. It rather comes in because we've been doing the groundwork. So there's quite a lot in this energy. You know, we're shifting into perspective and vision. The psyche begins to make space because we've let go of old patterns and emotions. We're bringing a lot of clarity around values, relationships, and authenticity. And it really is making women, and I've seen it, women are really feeling this shift towards sovereignty, freedom, and conscious belonging. And the world out there is screaming that. I think that's why we've got such a reactive patriarchy at the moment. And please, like, know that patriarchy for me isn't just male. Like, we all form patriarchal society and structures. I think there's this huge kind of war-like raging of the patriarchy at the moment, because the feminine is beginning to go into her sovereignty. She's screaming for freedom and she wants conscious belonging. We got to change the world we live in. We have to. And this chaos that we're seeing is part of that change. And I think, as horrible as it is, and I understand right now that I sit in a really privileged place that is not caught up in war torn or rape or all the horrible things that are going on in all the countries. Like, I've been so upset that some people are so polarized about one country at the moment, when actually, you know, someone was on about, I won't go into the political scene, but that there was a shooting, but they haven't said anything that there were 12,000 Iranian people killed on the streets last week, or that the Ethiopian women are being raped en masse. You know, it's happening all over the world. But if you're being polarized into one set vision, you're part of that patriarchal structure that becomes polarized. We need to have this outlooking vision and see that the whole world is in this feminine psyche, I believe, eruption. And the whole world, as well as the individual feminine, is actually really fed up of people pleasing and of the emotional labor of these structures that are trying to constrain and restrain everything about the creative, spiritual, libidic, erotic human being. And that's what's happening. We're seeing that there's greater clarity, whether people are conscious of it or not, that we're magnificent spiritual beings. and that there are forces that are trying to encapsulate that and turn us into slaves, and we can't do this, and we can't have the internet, and you can't go out on the street, and you can't anything that an authority. I always says, who says you can't? Who are those people? So there is this there is a change going on, and we are feeling it in our own individual psyches as women, because we are part of that greater picture. We are. And we're not just connected to the people of America, we're connected to the people of Sudan, and the people in the Congo, and the people in Iran, and the people in Ethiopia. Like, let's get a broader picture of what's happening in the world as women. That's a matriarchal circular society, a spiral society. It's not that. This is the only problem. And of course, we get triggered by what we're closest to. But if we take a broader outlook, we can see that there's a bigger picture happening out there. And what does that ask us to do as an individual? I think that's what this energy is really boiling down to. It is trying to bring love and belonging and reorientate the truth, the truth about us as human beings, and where our civilization is heading, and how it's being shaped and defined by who, rather than the individual, by expressiveness, by the allowance to be who we are and powerful as people, as individuals, not because we belong to a country or a nation or a belief system, but because we're fundamentally human. And I am as upset and devastated as everybody else as to what is happening in our world. The dance floor is burning. It is. I remember being with Andrew Harvey and him saying, like, we're all dancing on a burning dance floor, and it's absolutely true. But this has got to change us as an individual. It's not just an external thing. So yeah, all this is precursor energy. I'm wearing my snake. I found this in a charity shop yesterday. There's a lovely little French charity shop that supports domestic violence, and the snake found me yesterday, and it made me really laugh. It was like this symbol that I got given about the casting of skins as we come into February, when the year of the snake ends and the year of the horse starts. And if you've not already seen my podcast that I did with Shireen, my dear friend from Law of Positivism, take a look at that video. I talk about the precursor, about the energetic field we're laying this month, this week, before we step into the year of the horse. And that's what my teachings are with the year of the horse. They're going to be, how do we set the tone and the pace and develop the rigor, and what work do we have to have done before it, so that we avoid the fire, the destructive fire of the horse, which is burnout and destruction. So I'll pop the link in for the teachings that I do on that on the 9th of February underneath. So it was quite a lot. But I want to just reiterate what we're trying to do this week and summarize it if I can. And that's about getting clarity. It's about have released the emotions and understanding what's been holding you back, what polarization you've had, how you could see the bigger picture, and who you are going to become this year. How do we redefine ourselves? How do we evolve? How do we shed the skin of the last year and be a different person this year? And who is that different person? Define them, make them conscious, because that will really be a game changer for you if you start to think about that this week, and how that might move you forward in the next cycle that we're all beginning now. So yeah, do the work now. If you're feeling that frustration and that thing inside of you, release it. Have a good emotional release. Try and do that somatically and emotionally. Don't dump on people like I did. But yeah, I also had a really deep cry this weekend, like lots of emotion moving, and I'm feeling much more clear. I'm clearer this week about what needs to move for me. And so I hope you get that clarity, embodiment, and are able to sit in a place of more discernment about what you're seeing as the bigger picture. So really go easy, go gently. Remember, all this work needs a massive amount of nurturing as well. And I'm putting all resources to try to help you. I really feel that I want to help as much as I can. So I've also released the threshold class of 2026. So you need to, it's saying I'm having a few issues. So I know I am. So we need to think about, like, how am I supporting myself? Like, where am I getting the structure to support? So I've got the threshold class, I'll pop the link under, the horse class, I'll pop the link under, the podcast with Law of Positivism, I'll put the link under, and then also the archetypal work, which I think is the most significant. So all the structures are there to help you if you wish. Some are paid, some are free. I hope you take the opportunity, and I wish you a superb week. And I will see you next week for the live podcast, if not before. So take care and bye for now.